Do you want me to help you or?
That's it.
Great. Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day after a full day of interpreting or translation or household or everything else you have going on. I think that as we uh, are able to offer these short workshops, it not only helps in the improvement of everybody's performance, but I think it also helps in the improvement of our profession. So I thank you all for the dedication, the professionalism, and your efforts in being here. It is truly appreciated. And this is why you are part of our team, because you all have the same feeling and the same sentiment that we have. So first of all, thank you. I feel honored to be in all of your presence. I thank you so much for being here. Let's start off with that. Second of all, I want to thank my Antonella. Thank you so much for helping us with these workshops, with these, scheduling and finding the right person to do them as you have been doing, and taking your time to make it so seamless. So thank you, Anto.
You're the sweetest. It's
And
a pleasure.
and then I would like to thank Natalia. Natalia, thank you so much, first of all, for setting this up, for doing your research, for sending us the prep material so that we could look at it. And I am honored to listen to you today, to learn from you. I have been in this profession for over 30 years, but every day we learn something new. The day we stop learning is the day I don't want to do this anymore, because I feel that it's more than just a profession. To me, it's an entity that keeps growing and it keeps nurturing from all of us. So, Natalia, I thank you so much for doing this for us. And if we are ready, we will start. Natalia, are you ready?
Yes, I am so ready. I am so
Okay,
excited. I am not nervous at all. You're right. I'm freaking out. I'm actually
you'll
so
do fine.
honored to be in just in the presence of everybody. And it's really nice to see everybody's faces because usually when we're interpreting, we don't really see other interpreters. We see attorneys, we see clients, but we don't see one another. So thank you so much, especially I know that 6 p.m. is a complicated time. I myself have a very anxious toddler jumping around, so, hopefully we're gonna do this. So I'm gonna be sharing my screen with you. You're gonna see that I'm gonna do a lot of different things. And as I was mentioning to Pat, my hope is that we even run into some mistakes today because I want you to see what I've experienced with AI. But what I've experienced is that after taking some time with AI, it has become my best assistant. So this is something that I really wanted to share with other interpreters because it saved me time and I know how this craft works. So are you all able to see my screen right now as a presentation? All right. So this is when my two languages get mixed up. I was going to write that in English. Don't worry, the rest is in English. But this is something that it's a Menti. I don't know if you've ever used it. For disclosure, I was a teacher for 12 years, so I try to do things very interactive. I want you to log into your phones or into another page, and I want you to please go to menti.com and enter this number here. The number is 5654 4076. You're going to find a question, hopefully. And that question is going to be, what word comes to your mind when you think AI regarding your profession? I don't know about you guys, but I've been asked so many times, isn't AI going to replace you? So I want to get the feel of it. And let's see. Mhm. So look at the words that are start coming up. Replacement, replacement, threatening. See how replacement becomes larger? Because that means a lot of you are writing it. Assistance, no, replacement, helpful, tool, assist, time saver, accuracy, helpful, time saver. Inaccuracies, hallucination. Oh, I love you for writing that. You're so right in many things as well. So let me tell you what I wanted to do this. I wanted to get a feel in the room because AI is as great as it is scary. And I want to start off by acknowledging that and acknowledging that there's a lot of things that we don't know. And I wanted to get a feel of where you guys were. So I want to give you some thinking questions. I wish that, we had lots of time to really get into this, but these are things that I want you to take into consideration. And again, not all of these are going to apply, and you're going to see where these questions come from when you learn a little bit about my background. The first one is, how many times have you been given an assignment that has no context? I know I have. I've been called, hey, can you take a phone call right now? Sure, and you just jump in. Have you ever arrived at court just knowing the name of the hiring attorney and nothing else? I have. It's one of the scariest things that can happen to me. And how many times have you walked out of an assignment thinking, if only I knew what this was about beforehand, just 5 minutes? Well, this is a little bit of what got me to explore AI because AI does not replace interpreters. Let me tell you that like right away. And if you ask me, it's never going to do it. It's never going to do it because I don't think AI, just to give you an example, is ever going to understand different accents or biases that we may have in regions. So I love it. I love AI, but it's not as smart as we are. Sorry, it's just not. But it can become your best assistant. So, who am I and why do I like this topic? My name is Natalia. I'm Colombian born and raised. I finished high school here in the US, and then I moved back to Colombia. I got my bachelor's degree, and then I became a social studies teacher for 12 years. But then I became certified as an interpreter and as a translator in Colombia. And the reason why I did that was because I started thinking about my family in the future. And I started saying, I want to have a job that allows me to be a mom if I ever become a mom and allows me to have, the flexibility of time. And well, fast forward, here we are. And I've been interpreting and translating since 2018. But at first, it was just documents, then it was just conferences for teachers, then it was simultaneous translation. And then when I moved it to the US, someone said, hey, you'd be a great interpreter. And I was like, a what now? And then I started, taking all the courses and everything because here's what happened to me. You see, my language skills were great. As a matter of fact, I was just talking to Pat and to Anto before, and I immediately started mimicking their Argentinian accent. That's something that I'm very good at. I'm very good at. I don't speak a lot of languages. I just speak English and Spanish, but I'm able to speak both very well. But even though that was great, when I moved to the US, I started facing a completely legal different system. No idea. And I also started facing clients with different nationalities. So not everybody spoke my same Spanish. And then I also started facing accents in English and started, so many things that I hadn't dealt with. And I also started seeing sometimes that words meant nothing. And what I go by that is for all those Spanish speakers there, do you know that there are at least 5 different ways to call baseboards in your houses? I was like, and I found myself thinking that little thingy that's there. So, words can mean nothing even if we don't have it. So this is when I said, hey, what if I stopped treating AI like my personal assistant to write emails, which by the way is great, or to ask, I don't know, things like, what's the best itinerary on a Royal Caribbean cruise? What if I started using it for what I do? So this is what I found. The first thing that you can use AI for, and don't worry, I'm going to move into examples in a second, is it allows you to understand the context. At least for me, since I moved here and my certification was done in Colombia initially, everything that I faced here was completely different. So, Natalia, you have a workers' comp. A what now? I had no idea what that was. And so I needed to understand what is a workers' comp claim. I needed to understand the language used in it, and I needed to understand what were the things that were going to be talked about. Then, Natalia, you have an asylum interview. Okay. I I had never done one of those. So the first time I went into those, it's like, what's going to happen? How is it? What types of questions are going to be asked? Are they going to allow me to write? You're going to go into a hearing. So all these things is when you get to understand the context. What's going to happen? What are the stages? Who is going to intervene? Then my favorite, anticipating terminology. This is my favorite one. I once went into a hearing and I did my prep, like I knew it was going to be evidentiary hearing, all those things. But I'm so thankful that I ran into the attorney 15 minutes before, and the attorney turns around and tells me, "Oh, by the way, this is a case in the music industry and copyrights." Well, ChatGPT, I have a hearing in about 15 minutes. Give me everything I need to know. And it was great. Because there are things that, again, you may speak English, you may speak Spanish, but there are words or things that you've never faced before. So it really helped me with that. Role play. Pretend you are a judge. Pretend you are the attorney. Pretend you are a very angry witness. All these things, doing simulations, prepping for all of that. It also helps you to prepare for accents and styles. So, over time, and I'm sure this has happened to you, you already start knowing how people say different things. In PI cases, again, in Spanish, tires, so many different ways to say it across the borders. Um, I was so shocked with the first time that I heard it was a PI case, and the attorney said, "Were you T-boned?" I was like, I like my steak medium rare, but other than that, I don't know what you're talking about. So I was like, oh, T-bone, got it. So, it's all these things. How can you prepare? What are expressions that are commonly used? But of course, those were mistakes that I made. And I'm not afraid to admit it. And I'm sure that you as interpreters have walked out saying, oh my God. So again, this is when I started saying, you know what? I'm going to start getting ready with AI. And it's the best help in emergencies. Sometimes I run to my AI and say, hey, what does this word mean to a Venezuelan? Hey, what does this word mean to so and so? Because sometimes you don't understand. To be honest, T-bone was explained to me by ChatGPT. Because then for the attorney was very graceful and they explained it, but then I was like, okay, wait, ChatGPT, I wasn't a depot, this was what happened, and they explained. And so it was like, oh, by the way, you want to know other slang? Oh, yes, please tell me more. So let's get into it before we say why we still need it. Again, there may be mistakes, and if we run into mistakes, that's great. Now, there's lots of different AI tools, but I'm a sucker for ChatGPT for these things. It works really well, and I feel that it has started to understand the way that I work and what I do. So this is what happens. So what do you get when you get a case? Sometimes you get the notice of taking deposition. Sometimes you just get names, or sometimes you just get a Zoom link, right? So we do our best with what we have. What are things that I already know? If it's X person versus X person, most of the times it's going to be a PI, right? Most of the times. So I say, okay, how can I help you? And you go, hi, I have a depot later on. I'm going to remind it. Remember, I am an interpreter. I want you to give me thinking, right? I'm an interpreter. And it's a car accident. Can you give me the vocabulary I should be familiar with? Spanish, English. Let's see what it tells me. So it gives me basic accident terms, English, car accident, collision, crash, impact, rear end, head on, side impact, doesn't say T-bone, but fender bender, intersection, traffic light, stop sign. So this, look at all this glossary. So, how do you say claim? How do you say counsel? Common witness descriptions. I put together a practical English Spanish glossary specifically for car accident depositions, including, so it gives me this. Now let's do it instant. And I can say, the witness is Venezuelan. How do you know this? You know it in the middle of the depot. One of the first questions is, where were you born? So normally what I do is that I have this glossary ready, and then I'll tell ChatGPT, oh, by the way, the witness is this. And so it'll adapt as we are speaking. The witness is Venezuelan. Can you adapt? So carro, automóvil, camión, camioneta, autobús, camionetica. Look at this one in Spanish. Neutral Spanish, llanta, that's how you call a tire, but in Venezuela, it's caucho. The first time I heard caucho, I was like, rubber? So and again, so it's important to know. La maleta, a very different way to call the trunk. So all these things, and it can help you out. And again, you can do it with people from Cuba, with El Salvador, any types of things. You can even ask it, what's the best way to remain, what's the best term that I can use that is neutral for this? All right. So we've got this. Now let's do. And how does a worker comp one work? I have one later today. Workers' comp depots are usually very repetitive and focused on injury, timeline, prior injuries, work restrictions, treatment. Without me telling it, it's going to give me the key vocabulary, the core legal terms. Let's see if lost wages, light duty, all these things. Very common questions. So it allows you to see, how the workflow is going to happen. Body parts and injury terms. I don't know if it's, but again, I'm not an anatomy degree. So once they mentioned something, what was it? The rotator cuff. I had no idea how to say that in English. And I was like, and they mentioned it, and I was like, how do you say that? Because I really had no idea initially. Now it's manguito rotador. That doesn't make any sense. The difference between swollen and inflammation, which in Spanish it's the same word. Like sometimes it can be the same word. So doing all these things. All right. So this one again, and see, it's going to stick with what you've already taught it. Venezuelan Spanish notes. This is why you have to be, wait. Not everyone's going to be Venezuelan. So you have to retrain your AI to do this. So
Natalia, one quick thing. We
yes,
we have other languages here. We have
perfect,
Russian. I think we have Haitian Creole. We have
amazing.
Cambodian. So everything would work in the same way, correct?
Yes,
Let's say,
everything would work in the same way. because I'm pretty sure that, even though it's Russian, you may feel, there's other countries that speak Russian. And again, I don't speak Russian, so I don't know if there's going to be differences there, but I don't know, maybe someone from Belarus speaks different to someone who's like in Moscow. So it might help you out. The same with Haitian Creole. If there are different dialects, again, it works the same way. What's the key? What prompt do you give it? What is a prompt? This that I'm doing here, what I am asking it, what I am saying. So again, I have a depot. My role is an interpreter. It's going to start, slowly understand what sorts of things do you do. But now I'm going to show you my favorite one because these are the ones that really, really scared me. And I asked Anto for help. You get this before an assignment. You have to go, it's a notice of final hearing, right? Now, I wanna be super clear with this. I do not ever give ChatGPT the full information because that would violate confidentiality. I mean, even though this is like a public document, I'm still thinking, I don't want everything to be known. So what I do is I play a little bit with the titles. So, where are you? So I know, for instance, that this is from the division of family. So what I would say is, listen. So I was retained to interpret in, you see, you don't even have to be perfect, in division family. And it's a notice of final hearing. What can I expect? Let's see what it comes up with. So it usually means the judge is going to make final decisions in that case. Commonly divorce, custody, child support, time sharing, relocation, or enforcement related. You'll likely be interpreting direct testimony, attorney questioning, judges' questions, objections, negotiations and hallways, review of arguments. What usually happens? This to me decreases a lot of the anxiety. Like at first, court made me very nervous because with depots, you already know what's going to happen. With court, it was a little bit more scary at first. So what's going to happen? What are the preliminary matters? Again, English, and we could change all of this would change to the language that you have. Common family law vocabulary, children custody. It gives me Florida because that's where I'm doing it. Financial vocabulary, testimony you may hear, parenting questions, courtroom procedure. Now, this is a classic example that since I gave it very vague information, then the answers are going to be very vague, right? Because it's telling me, oh, all of this can happen. That doesn't mean everything's going to happen. But let me see if I can find another of the ones that I was sent. I don't know if it's happened to you, but have you ever been called for, how is that called? It's like second evidentiary hearing motion to dismiss, blah, blah, blah. What's going to happen in this? Like, to me, it's very important to understand what that hearing is going to be about. But I'm not an attorney, so I have no idea. Because honestly, I mean, you may disagree with me, but a lot of them sound exactly the same. And sometimes when attorneys are speaking and they're going over like lots of their legal things, you're like, whoa, that's a different language. So again, it gives you the context and you're going to be definitely, better and a lot more calm. Let me see. I'm going to stop sharing for a second while I look for another one. I don't know if right now anybody has a question, would like, I'm still going to have everyone try to do something in a second. But where's a hearing one that I have? Okay, here I have one. Okay, here is another one. And again, this was shared to me just today, so this is what I would do if I was getting this assignment. Okay. Normally, what I do is that I'll go into a new chat so that it kind of lets the first one go, because then otherwise it's going to be, oh, by the way, you want to talk Venezuela? No, 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 we're done with that. Like, relax. So here, I have an assignment. You could even make spelling mistakes. It gets it. As an interpreter with this case. No, notice of special set hearing. Just the basic thing. What is that? Means the court has scheduled a hearing for a specific date, time, and amount of time. This is what's going to involve important motions, evidentiary issues, testimony for witnesses, and usually you will get a little bit of that in the assignment. So, what is this about? Who is going to intervene? This again, this is very specific court and legal terminology. Sustained, overruled, all of these. If it's family court, so again, you would be ready. And then this is the part that I love. Then it's like, oh, I'm gonna give you interpreter tips. I'm like, don't worry. I have a room full of expert interpreters here. I need to give those tips. But it's interesting to say. So okay, motion to compel. All right, let's do this. Can you explain this one better? I just, copy paste this one. So what is a motion for temporary relief? And it's going to tell me exactly what it is. Very common in family court. Someone temporary orders while the case is still ongoing. So what the judge may decide temporarily, who stays in the house, temporary child support, temporary alimony. So even though these are not going to be all your cases, at least when I walk into the court or I walk into the assignment, I know a little bit of what's going to go on. And therefore, I can tune in my brain to that sort of language, to creating a quick glossary, having the right tool available for me if I'm doing it online, so that I know what I need to jump into. So, going to that initial question, and then I'm going to have you try it. Then why are we still needed? Why are interpreters still needed? Well, again, AI helps, but it does not decide. It's going to make mistakes and it's not going to decide, whereas you as the interpreter, you're the one who decides which is the correct word, which is the correct terminology. We are the ones who determine the speed, the pace. We've had so many clients over the years. I've had clients that, are older folks, and so they need us to speak a little bit slower. AI is not going to do that. AI makes mistakes because we are able to read context. They're not. We are able to read context when and again, things like the difference between roof and ceiling. How do you translate that to other languages? How do you understand that context in other languages? How do you understand PI? Like all those things, AI is not going to do it. And AI forgets a lot. My best way to describe ChatGPT is that I have a super eager intern by my side. And don't get me wrong, I love interns, but interns tend to make a little bit more mistakes than the, more seasoned professionals. So again, it's very eager. It's going to want to give you a fast answer. It's going to want to please you, but sometimes it forgets the most basic things. So you have to be super careful with it. And again, it may have a bias, because what I've seen is that AI starts mirroring certain things from you, and it kind of starts to understand. Like sometimes my AI will get a like, "Oh, you're doing great," and it gives me a yellow heart, and I'm like, "Okay, my love, I'm not looking for motivation. I don't want you to sugarcoat things. Like, let's do this." And again, confidentiality. Um, we don't want all of this to become available. Like if you're in a family case, You don't want to put like the names of anyone, like things like that is something that definitely I don't want to get into. Um, Funny enough, sometimes it will give you the style of the judge if the judge is very well known, and well, can be interesting. So we're gonna try it. I want you to try to open ChatGPT. Why? Because this one, it has a free model. To me, the free model works really well. Of course, if you start, asking way too much, it's gonna be like, oh, by the way, pay. Um, but I want you to think of one of your areas of work. I want you to think about an area that you were maybe, depends on what you want to try, that you were not an expert, but now you're an expert at, so that you can check what it gives you. Or I want you to try to think of something new that may come up. To me, there were lots that were new. When I first started interpreting, I was focusing a lot in homeowners insurance claims. So I became an expert, like hurricane terminology, wind, weather, all of that. But then, we have to be able to adapt ourselves. Now, due to the climate that we have, there's lots of things going on with immigration. So again, different language that we have to adapt to. So I want you to practice giving it a prompt. What is a prompt? What you write. And this is the key. You have to be super specific. You're going to see why. Sometimes it doesn't even understand what an interpreter is. My AI already knows what I do. But sometimes it's going to be like, oh, yeah, let's interpret a text. The poetry behind. No, that's not what we're doing. So I want you to give it a try. And then I would love for mics to be open and you tell me something that you may find there.
If you can't unmute yourself, just raise your hand and I will unmute you.
Obviously, all these programs are going to want you to create an account, all these things. You can always do as a guest, just for the fun of it, just for this starting point. And then, you can decide if this is the one you want to use. These are the longest minutes of my life right now.
Anyone maybe? I don't know. I see you all working like so far.
Okay, so hello.
Hi, Juan.
Hi, Juan.
Hello. Well, I asked Chat GPT to give me terminology on for a hearing in an eviction for an eviction. So I got landlord, tenant, lease, What else is it looks interesting? Past, well, no, arrears.
Mm.
Um, yep. So,
Juan, did it give you any tips on, was it a deposition or a hearing?
the I had recently I had a case where it was for some a petition for summary eviction, something like,
Judgment.
yeah, and there was other terminology I was not familiar with, but yeah, I just did what you asked us. I mean, just kind of ask GPT to give me general terminology. Um, so yeah, I see how I did it.
And do you feel that it could have been helpful before going into the hearing?
Yes. So uh, just as we know, as interpreters, as long as we know the meaning
Mm.
ourselves of what we're looking for, then we could go ahead and interpret that word. So, but if we don't know, because like you previously said, we are not attorneys, so yes, this will definitely be helpful.
Awesome.
Thank you, Juan.
Anyone else?
Yep.
Did anyone else find anything or search anything?
Nile, Edith.
Edith, how do you feel being a seasoned interpreter? Um, like some of us have been around for so many years. How do you feel? Do you feel comfortable using AI on the side when you're doing a Zoom assignment? What do you think about that, Edith?
Yeah, I think I didn't think about that. I always have, I always like to work from my computer and not from the phone because I have the two screens, so I can put all my resources on the other screen, and I have a few online dictionaries open there and my own glossary that I've compiled over the years. So I have all that, very accessible, but I never thought of having ChatGPT open or any other AI. And I think this is a good idea. I think I'm going to start using it.
It's almost
So
like when you prep for a hearing or a depo, instead of looking and spending the time researching it, I guess you can go into ChatGPT. Of course, you take everything with a grain of salt, but it will
Hmm.
save
yeah.
you a lot of time.
Yeah, as far as the glossaries, it is very useful, and that's something that is not confidential, that's very general, but it helps us a lot. So we don't have to put, like Natalia says, and we all know we shouldn't put any identifying information. Um, but uh, but researching the case, like for instance, I know that some people use it, like if you have the complaint, you can ask it to give you a summary of what the case is all about. If it's a complaint of 45 pages or 100 pages. My only thing is that how do you erase, or how you cover, or block the identifying information? Because if you're going to first read it and then go with a marker and
Redacted.
yeah, and redact it, then you're already spending 2 hours and you're reading it. So that's the part that I don't know how to do, but that would be something very useful if you have something that is very long that you need to read and you can get a summary of it. That would be great. As far as the prompt that I gave it now, today I had a long deposition and it was about a contract, commercial law. So I just asked it, uh, the parties are arguing arguing if the plaintiff was an owner of part of the business or not. And so what should I expect? And it's interesting because it gave me a big glossary and it was very accurate. We used practically all of these words during the deposition. So it knows what we are talking about. And the I asked for the glossary in English and in Spanish, and the translation is good. It's very good.
Thank you, Edith. Thank you
You're
so much
welcome.
for your input. I think Maria Gabriel has a question.
Hello, everybody. I just want to say thank you for this. This is very, very, very helpful. I was thinking one of my first challenges was with a depot that had to do with construction industry, and I honestly knew very little about that. And now just checking with it helps so much to see, you know, check traits and job site vocabulary, tools and materials, safety and OSHA terminology, construction defect, delay language. It gives me really a lot of tools to prepare.
Great. Thank you, Maria. Does anyone
Thank
else
you.
have anything?
Thank you, Maria. I think Mile had her hand up.
Mile?
Hello, everyone. I was going to say something along the lines of what other people have said before me. I did use a very general prompt. I just mentioned I have a examination under oath and I'm doing it in Miami, and it was very interesting to have that general idea. And it did also mention the Spanish variation that I may encounter, which is interesting. And there's the Miami specific reality. It had this part, and I thought it was very curious. It was very interesting to read that how ChatGPT offered those things, but I've never thought of using it because I'm quite wary about the privacy. But I do believe that the way we are using it, it's very helpful, and I'll definitely use this in the future. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What I like this, and I do use ChatGPT during my depositions because just like Natalia said, I prompt it before I start. So I usually, 9 times out of 10, well, Pat knows this because I'm strange. At 5 a.m., I'm reading the complaints of my cases just so that I know what I'm up against. So what I do is I actually do prompt ChatGPT. I'm going into a deposition at this time. I am the interpreter. I will be interpreting from English to Spanish, Spanish to English. The summary of the case is XYZ, and I'll just type that out. I need to see the list of vocabularies, but I am more, I want to be able to glance at things immediately. So what I tend to do is I tend to tell ChatGPT, I would like to see the English words in alphabetical order on the left-hand side. I want to see the Spanish words on the right-hand side. So that way I could just flip through things really fast. Once I do
Wow.
my deposition, and of course, the general question, what country are you from? I alert ChatGPT, I am dealing with someone from Colombia, Argentina. Also, I need you to be quick and to respond. I will be typing one word. I just need the equivalency as I'm going along. I type, it's there, and it's ready to go.
I hope you give your assistant a commission because she's quick, he's quick, whatever. I mean, you really give it a lot of indications. That's great, though.
I do because I don't like to fumble. And if it's medical, auto accidents, I'm very well versed. But when it comes to construction law, I am horrible. I don't know anything about construction in my native language, which is English, let alone in Spanish. So I need to be very well prepared for stuff like that.
Thank you, Habib. Sasha has her hand up as well.
Yes, I just want to mention really quick that I actually have been using ChatGPT, Gemini quite a bit as a way to prepare. But I just wanted to comment on Natalia's mentioning that just by typing in, telling ChatGPT that I'm an interpreter, the result is tremendously different. So, because I just did the practice just now, and I can see that the list is quite different from when I'm just asking, hey, give me the Chinese the terms for this and that, and it's quite a different result. And I would say that this is so much better. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Sasha.
Natalia, do you
Well,
want to keep going?
yes. I'm just
Okay.
gonna, this is just my final advice. And I think this is very aligned with what Habib was mentioning, and it takes a little bit of time to train your AI, but also to train yourself. I completely agree. I also prompted, and I have it. Let me show you a little bit of how my screen looks like. So if I'm in the middle of a depot, I will have. I actually use ChatGPT, and Claude is my new best friend, but that one's a little bit more complicated. So I'll have this. And I also prompted, hey, I'm going into a hearing. My hearing's going to be about this and this and this. I'm also going to be I'll give you who this person is so that you adapt your responses. And the same thing that Habib says. When I just write a word, I need you to give me the translation. And sometimes I've even been able to find, because I don't know if this has happened to you, but sometimes the way things are pronounced, you have no idea what that is, especially medical centers. You're like, it's like, what? But then it's like, oh, when they kind of give you the intersection, then you're like, and ChatGPT will tell you, oh, they're talking about Pinecrest Medical Center. You're like, oh, yeah, it's Pinecrest Medical Center. So it does help out, but it takes some time to train it for your AI to understand what an interpreter does. What is it that you do? What is your role? What do you know? What you don't know? So that it doesn't repeat itself. The prompt is what makes it successful. Just what Sasha was mentioning. You can't just go say, hey, give me a vocabulary for, because then, is this a vocabulary for teaching? Is this a vocabulary for a restaurant, for a date, for you? Again, you need to be super specific. Practice having your AI tool open. What you were saying, Edith, you're very well versed having your two screens, you have your evidences here. It also takes some time to practice to know how to access your AI quickly. I also keep my online dictionary, my depot. So also when it's something just quick as a word, then it's faster than ChatGPT. Save your best findings. When you find a glossary that you love, keep it and save it for future times. And start noticing patterns. Again, I start noticing patterns in the way that AI gives me the answers, so it also allows me to understand other patterns. And of course, what I said, always check. Remember, ChatGPT is a very eager intern, but it's just learning, and it's learning what you do, and how to assist you, but obviously never, ever, ever to replace us. Um, so 10 to 7. This is the information that I had to share with you. You have no idea how happy I am that you guys all joined me. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. If you find anything new, any other AI that works, any other things, just, let's text each other. Let's, help us grow. And yeah, that's all that I have for you today.
Natalia, this has been an incredible workshop. Thank you so much. I think we have all learned so much and has taken out of our comfort zone as well. Sometimes it's a little bit hard for us seasoned interpreters to accept some of these new tools, but you've made it very easy to understand. This recording will be on our YouTube channel, so you can go back and look at it. Again, thank you, Natalia. Thank you so much. If anybody is interested in doing a workshop for us and continuing our continuing education, we would be more than glad to have you. We'd be honored. Antonella is in charge of our education department. So reach out to her. And one more thing that I will ask, if it's okay, if everybody can turn their cameras on for just 1 minute so we can take a picture, that would be great. Anto, you tell us when.
Yes, but can I ask you if you are able to put like
Sure.
all of us together? I'm not able to. I don't know.
Oh, no problem. No problem. I can do it.
Okay, awesome. I'll take the
How
picture.
interpreters look at 6 p.m.
Right? Hold on.
Figure.
Oops. And
Thank you, Natalia. Thank you so much. Of course, if any of you would like to give a workshop, just send me an email. I'll reply fast.
I would
okay.
much like to learn how to use Claude. I downloaded it. I don't understand it. I think it's a
Oh,
little.
I don't either.
It's once you understand it, it will blow your mind.
Is it better than ChatGPT? Is what I hear, but
Depends.
Maria, maybe we could have another class on Claude.
Mm.
that
We
would
need
That
be
a
would be
we
great.
need
That would
a
be great.
we need a
an
Gen
expert.
Z. Yeah, Gen
Yes.
Z to learn to teach us.
Yes, exactly. Can you guys turn on your cameras for just a minute so I can take a picture, and then I promise it's only 1 minute? Josie?
I'm on the
Maria?
road, Pat.
The thing
I'm
is that I am in
sorry.
my son's room and it's horrible.
Okay. All right. Emmy, no? Christian, no? Okay. Yay. Hi, Josie.
Thank you so much.
Denise?
I'm driving.
Denise? Okay, okay.
Do you
Okay,
get
I'll do it right now. Okay, here we go. Let me take off my glasses. Okay, here we go. Okay. Got
Ready?
it. Oh, yay. We did it. Well, yes, I did it. Okay, good.
Habib,
Well, thank you.
I still don't understand how to use Claude for interpretations. I'm using it for translations now, and I'm
really.
like, it's ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. It'll understand handwriting better than me. Like
Really?
Venezuelan birth certificates, they're
Yeah,
horrible because
you
they're like
never.
handwritten. They're like handwritten by a grandma that I don't.
Mhm.
And so it's yeah, it'll blow your mind. I love it, but I'm learning.
I'm interested in taking a course because I did take a course on ChatGPT for maybe 6 weeks.
Oh,
And
wow.
it's just a matter, it is, like Natalia said, you have to train it. You just have to talk to it,
Mm-hmm.
prompt. It's nothing but prompts. And just if you do it every day, it starts recording the way you want to think.
Mm-hmm.
And you have less hallucinations
Yeah.
than if you just open it and just go into it. It's just not going to know what to do.
Great.
Thank you, Natalia. Fantastic training. I'm driving. Sorry I couldn't participate more,
Please
but
drive
Okay. Thank you
carefully.
so much.
fantastic.
Drive safe.
Thank
Fantastic.
you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Pat. Thank
Thank
you,
you,
everybody. Thank you
Anto.
so much for
Patricia.
Thank you,
joining.
Natalia. Bye bye.
Thank you,
Thank
You're
you,
everyone.
welcome.
Thank you so much.
everybody. Have a good night.
Bye.
Natalia, thank you
Thank
again.
you. Thank you,
You're
guys.
very
Bye.
welcome.